Alright, so I'm sitting in front of the Myrtle Beach Discus I bought about a week ago. They're eating real well. But some of the questions I get on my channel and when people come in my room is how to medicate, what to medicate with, and when do I medicate. So we're going to go over the first two in a different video, how and what. And we're going to go through my products that I've just put this together. This is the whole kit that all the medications I use. Right now I'm writing all the paperwork, which is insane, trying to make sure that I'm very thorough in my paperwork. So this will probably be out in about a week or so. And actually I'm medicating my older discus with their last prosy treatment today. And I'm filming that, and that'll be out probably hopefully this weekend if you're watching this video. So when to medicate? Okay, that is a big question. These guys are eating real well. Why would I medicate them? Well, because I know in the past when I didn't medicate, you're rolling the dice, right? You're kind of guessing, oh, they look good, they're eating, and they're doing fine, they're gonna be okay. But for me to mix these guys into my population would be very, very risky because all my other fish are medicated. And I hear people saying they medicate every 3 to 4 months, which to me is just insane. And all you're doing when you do that is you're causing resistance. The parasites are becoming resistant to the medication or underdosing, and I'll go over that later in the video. So when to medicate? Okay, these guys have been here about a week. They're eating real well. They look healthy. It's a great time to start medication. Let's say they weren't eating. Let's say there was an issue, and for one of them just wasn't looking right or had some issues as far as cloudy eyes or skin just didn't look right or just wasn't eating. What would I do at that point? That's where the metronidazole comes in, okay? I don't pre-treat metronidazole. Metronidazole is something I use if there's an issue with a fish stop eating. And I use it in conjunction with salt, and that'll be on a future video. But these guys are looking great, they're eating. I'll probably give them another week or so just to get a little bit fatter and, you know, making sure everything is okay. Because if they're gonna stop eating, then the metronidazole is where I'd go to. And that's kind of the problem with the medications you buy over the counter, is most of the metronidazole is mixed with praziquantel, which is a terrible mixture, terrible, because the praziquantel is viable for up to 7 days, maybe even longer. I mean, it could go probably months in a tank. It'll degrade a little bit, but it's good for long term. It's kind of like salt. The only way you're going to remove praziquantel is if you remove water. Now, metronidazole is different, okay? It's about an 8-hour life. It's basically an antibiotic. It does have a deworming concept to it, but most of it is internal bacteria, and that's why most fish stop eating, and it helps their immune system boost a little bit. So you think about when we take antibiotics. We take them usually every 12 hours, right? We take them in the morning and we take them at night. And what's the biggest thing they're going to tell you to do? Finish out your dosage, right? The reason why is because if you don't, you're basically going to cause resistance to those antibiotics, and we're already having that issue. And that's the big issue with the metronidazole in our, it's the go-to, right? But you got to figure, if you're dosing with a mixture of metro and prosy, you're not getting a full dose. And then the directions say to leave it in for a week. Well, you're getting 8 hours of the metro and the prosy's taking over, but you're not, there's more metro in the medicine than prosy. So I'm not going to go into all that, because that's what's wrong with the medications you buy in the pretty box at the store and you pay a ton of money for. I couldn't believe when I broke down what my medicines cost to what the store medicines cost at the same dosage. So that's kind of the point, is to keep you coming back and buying those medications. It's not really there to solve it, obviously, because the dosages are way off. And it's all they're doing, these big corporate pretty box medications, is they're causing resistance. So for a hobbyist like me and a hobbyist like you, this is frustrating, because why isn't it working? Or why is it only working a little bit and I have to redose, I have to re-medicate? Why do I have to keep going back to the store and buying this stuff? Because it's not the right dosages. That's the big thing. Now, I'm not saying I know everything, but I know that over the last 30 years, I've been frustrated with the medications that I buy. And the biggest one is Prezi. You'll see it, it's in a bottle, it's in a liquid form. And the reason why they do that, because the praziquantel in a powder form doesn't break down in water. Now, I've fixed that with mine, and mine is a powder, and it's 99.9, and it works really, really well. So, when to medicate, okay? These guys are fine. No metronidazole. They're not getting any metro, okay? I rarely use metronidazole anymore. Rarely. If a fish stops eating, that's when I go to that, and that's something I go to if there's a problem. What do I treat? Well, the first treatment they get is a levamisole, okay? That's a dewormer. It gets about 18 parasites. And the dosages that I use are a little bit higher, but even my dosage is fine for shrimp. It's been tested on shrimp, so it's fine. And my snails, I have snails in every tank, and I rarely see a snail die. But I can understand why they do that, because they're selling mass. Now, I'm selling for discus, right? Or even angelfish or rainbow fish if there's a problem. But rainbow fish I've never seen. Catfish. Now, some catfish are sensitive, so the glass catfish I believe is sensitive to it, so you got to be real careful. So they're going to get a dosage of the levamisole, right? And then in 21 days, I'm going to repeat that. That is the standard, right? Because what we want to do is knock out, if there's any parasites, we're going to knock them out in the first treatment, and then in the second treatment, if they've started laying, those eggs have started hatching, that kills those eggs, and you're pretty much good to go. Can I claim 100%? That would be irresponsible, but I'm going with 99% cure, okay? I've been doing it for about 2.5 years, and once I do it, I don't ever treat again so far. So this is just a 2-year trial. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but it's something that I was so frustrated with what was going on in the industry as far as medications. I had to do something, because you know, when you're treating this many fish to keep your room healthy, and you're doing it in pre-quarantine to make sure you're getting ahead of the game, because there's nothing worse than something gets sick and then you're fighting to catch up, right? That is like the struggle we go through. So that's why I created these products. And then, so they're going to get the levamisole, and then they're going to, 20 more days, they're going to get the levamisole. Then I'm going to let them sit for like 3 to 4 weeks, okay? So that's where the 90-day quarantine that I get so much hate for online is. This is why. Because now we've gone through a month, and then we've gone through about 3 or 4 weeks of recovering from that first medication round, okay? And then I go into the praziquantel, and now I use my powder form, which is basically kill gill flukes, body flukes, and tapeworm. It does do some other stuff, but really the gill flukes and the body flukes are our biggest nemesis in discus, because we usually, by the time we can see it where they start flashing or something, that's almost too late, because they've caused so much damage in their gills, or they've got so far back into the gills it's hard to get to. But here's the biggest thing with the Prezi and the gill flukes is they're resistant. There's resistant strains, and if you get one of those, basically there's no way to get rid of it. Basically that fish is going to live probably a decent life, but it's going to live a shorter life, because once the gills start getting deteriorated, they can't breathe, and then it's just a rough thing to watch. So I've had it happen to me a few times. So that's why I pre-treat with the Prezi. And the Prezi is the same thing, right? It's you treat, and then 21 days we treat again. Now, gill flukes can live on the body, and body flukes can live in the gills. It doesn't matter. They're just two different species, and one prefers one and one prefers the other, but they cross over, so they can live in both. But here's the thing with the gill flukes, is they don't need a host to survive, right? So you got to eradicate them out of your system, out of the water system, because that's where they basically can live, and they can reinfest, and they can just keep going in your tanks. This Prezi I use is, and one thing about Prezi, even at my dosages, it's super safe, and the fish actually go through no stress. And like all medications, you want to dim the lights. You don't want highlight on medications, because it does deactivate the medications. So I just want to kind of make this video real quick before I start launching my Metro, and I start launching the Prezi, and then I start launching the kit with everything in it. And I'm hoping a week, but it might be 2 weeks. And this has everything. It has the, with dosages and everything, it has the levamisole, it has the Prozi, it has the erythromycin. Now, erythromycin I want to talk about a little bit. When those fish shed off the gill fluke, basically what it does is it causes major irritation, right? So I use a combination of salt and erythromycin. You do not want to use salt with Prozi. You do not, because basically what you're doing is you're creating a coat over that fish, and those flukes can actually harbor inside that coat and not be affected by the medicine. So we treat straight Prozi, and then it's 4-day treatment, and then as we get out of that 4th day, we do a 50%, do a light salt. So basically salt will dehydrate anything that's left and help the fish recover, right? It'll help start building that slime coat. And then we treat with that, then we do another 50%, and then we treat with the erythromycin for 3 days, right? And then we let it go for 3 days and we watch. If the fish are irritating, you can kind of see their gills swollen or something, we do another dosage of the erythromycin. And that's 21 days, right? And we do another course. It seems extreme, but because I do this, I don't have to ever, that tank is clean, right? So those fish never come in contact with these fish because I know that I haven't treated these fish yet. So those fish will be fine and go and they can start breeding and start making money. They can start doing everything they need to do for me to have success, where I'm not coming from behind to try to solve a problem. Now there's some people that hate on this, and that's fine. That's fine. Do what you do. That's fine, right? But I also hear people that say they treat their discus every 3 or 4 months. To me, insanity, right? When they're sick, you treat, and that's where the Metro goes back into. Now, the Metro is not really a dewormer, but it does take care of a few parasites, not a lot. It's more about getting the discus healthy and the immune system going back so they can recover on their own. That's a 5-day treatment, twice a day, right? And the dosages I'll have. But also that can be combined with salt, because we want the salt and the body slime, and it's more of we're trying to get that fish healthy on the inside so it can start eating again. Because if it stops eating, it loses its immunity, and when it loses immunity, that's when fish go downhill fast. Alright guys, I just want to make this quick video because I'm actually treating my big tank with the Prozi, and I wanted to make this video because it's going to go dark in here. Not real dark, but it's going to be hard to make a video, and that should be out in probably, I'm hoping by the weekend, that last Prozi video should be out and the full treatment on that. And then everything else will be come out. I'll do a Metro probably next week, and then hopefully I'll launch probably before the Metro, all the medications and stuff. But this is years and years and years of work. As far as 30 years I've been trying to figure out why can't I solve these problems, and it's because I was trying to come from the back to the front, and now I do front to back, where it's take care of it. It's not an issue down the road. And when you're breeding fish, the last thing you want to do is breed fish and then all of a sudden the fry have some disease, and then you have this 90-day syndrome, which is I've never seen it. I've heard of it. It's like sometimes I think it's a myth, but I know people deal with it where you get a full die-off fry in 90 days. And I think it's because you're putting fish that aren't 100% healthy into those breeding situations, and they're transferring stuff. Because you got to remember, the babies are eating off those parents for up to 2 weeks, sometimes more, so they're very susceptible to any diseases those fish have, internal, external. All right guys, that's it. I got to cut it short because I got to get to work on my other tank and get this video out. Take care, have a great day, bye.